What's their song? Trouble? Yeah. There's a lot of trouble associated with that clip. Scott, thank you very much indeed. I never did like his cam. We're going to take a short break. Headlines are coming up. Stay with us.
Hello, there is the risk that the weather could cause...
Which I think comes from finding a fossil as significant as this.
You might think you know the story of human evolution, but now we are discovering it's more dramatic than we ever imagined.
This was something that wiped out 13 people in the same family.
This is our story.
Human. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
News. There's Vaughan Jones.
Today at 1, record levels of water pollution events in England. Serious incidents like untreated sewage being discharged into rivers are up 60%. The Environment Secretary says the levels are disgraceful, and campaigners claim rivers are spiralling towards ecological collapse. Also on the programme, tributes are left outside a school in Minehead after the coach crash that killed 1 child and left 21 injured. Police officers have been attacked during a protest outside a hotel used to house asylum seekers in Essex. A damning inspection of Pentonville prison reveals a widespread cockroach infestation and some prisoners being let out early by mistake. And trusting her was our biggest mistake. We hear from the family who claim the author of the best-selling book, The Salt Path, stole thousands of pounds from their business.
On BBC London, we're in Epping after last night's anti-migrant demo turned violent with officers attacked and police vehicles damaged. And the train line that's due to be nationalised to help improve services.
Good afternoon, welcome to the news at 1. The Environment Agency says a record number of water pollution incidents took place in England last year. It reported a 60% annual rise in serious incidents, which result in the loss of aquatic life and risk to human health. The industry body, Water UK, says the performance of some firms has not been good enough. Our environment correspondent, Jonah Fisher, reports. Next, Essex Police says mindless vandalism will not be tolerated following a protest at a hotel used to house asylum seekers in Epping. Hundreds of people joined demonstrations about the use of the Bell Hotel, as well as a smaller pro-refugee rally. Followed the arrest of an asylum seeker on suspicion of alleged sexual assaults in the town. Our correspondent Nick Johnson is in Epping. And Nick, what else have Essex Police said there? Nick, thank you. President Trump has ordered his Attorney General to produce court documents relating to the investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Trump has faced pressure over his administration's handling of the Epstein files. Our correspondent, Tom Bateman, is in Washington, D.C. for us now. Tom, what's the latest? Thank you, Tom. Britain's longest-serving female MP, Diane Abbott, has accused the Labour leadership of wanting her out of the party following her second suspension. In a recent BBC interview, she said that she did not look back with regret at all at the events around her first suspension in 2023 over a letter in which she wrote that Jewish, Irish and traveller people experienced prejudice rather than racism. She must now sit as an independent while Labour investigates. A doctor and her husband have been sentenced to 10 months in prison for selling PPE stolen from an NHS hospital during the first COVID lockdown. 45-year-old Atiya Sheikh and her husband, 48-year-old Omar Sheikh, made almost £8,000 selling PPE on eBay between May and October 2020. Former England football captain Paul Ince has been banned from driving for 12 months after pleading guilty to drink driving. 57-year-old was also ordered to pay £7,000 at Chester Magistrates Court. The Chief Inspector of Prisons has issued what's called an urgent notification to the government after an inspection of HMP Pentonville in North London. Charlie Taylor said the prison is in a state of disarray, has appalling conditions, and in some cases, The time is 16 minutes past 1. Our top story this afternoon. Record levels of water pollution events in England. The Environment Secretary describes the situation as disgraceful. And Felix Baumgartner, the Austrian daredevil who jumped from the edge of space, dies in a paragliding accident in Italy.
And on BBC London, we take a trip down memory lane at one of the country's oldest schools in East London as it prepares to close after nearly 400 years. And Shereen will be here with your weekend weather forecast at the end of the programme.
Football, and England's defence of their Euros title continues after a nail-biting penalty shootout against Sweden last night. The Lionesses managed a remarkable comeback from 2-0 down and will now face Italy in the semi-finals on Tuesday. Our sports correspondent, Jane Dougal, is in Zurich. So, Jane, what lessons will England take away from that game? Next, the first criminal conviction linked to the Post Office CAPTCHA system has been referred to the Court of Appeal. Now, CAPTCHA predated the company's faulty Horizon IT software. Patricia Owen was found guilty in 1998 of 5 counts of theft, following a £6,000 shortfall at the Broad Oak Post Office in Canterbury. Well, our correspondent Zoe Conway is with us now. Hi Zoe, how significant is this development? Buy now, pay later lenders will have to carry out affordability checks under new plans set out by the Financial Conduct Authority. The regulator says the change will provide vital protection to stop people taking on debt they can't afford. It's day 2 of the Open at Royal Portrush, and we can expect plenty of twists and turns after an erratic opening round. Thousands of fans have turned out to see Masters champion Rory McIlroy, who began the day 3 off the lead. Well, let's get the latest from our sports correspondent, Ben Croucher, who is there. Ben. All part of the fun, Ben, thank you. Next, a family who claims the author of The Salt Path, Raina Wynne, stole tens of thousands of pounds from its property business, has told the BBC that trusting her was their biggest mistake. Ros Hemmings and her daughter Debbie alleged that Ms Wynne stole around £65,000 while she was working for them in North Wales in the early 2000s. Our reporter Gemma Dunstan has more. The Austrian extreme sports pioneer Felix Baumgartner, who broke the world record for the highest skydive by jumping from the edge of space, has died in a paragliding accident in Italy. Police say he fell to the ground near a hotel swimming pool. Simon Jones has been looking back at his life. A reminder of our top headline this afternoon. Record levels of water pollution events in England. The Environment Secretary describes the situation as disgraceful. And the world's oldest ice, at least 1 million years in the making, that could unlock the secrets to the history of the Earth's climate. We'll have a full forecast in the next half hour. Time for a quick look at the weather, though. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Lewis. Thank you very much. It is one of those times when you are going to want to keep a close eye on the weather forecast, because I think the weather is going to cause some problems for some of us later in the programme.
Thanks, Ben. Ukraine is set to receive new American weaponry following President Trump's decision to allow European NATO members to buy US equipment and send it to Kyiv. And now it's time to join our colleagues with the news where you are.
Thanks, Lewis. On the programme, we're at the scene of last night's anti-migrant demo in Epping, where a hotel was damaged and police officers attacked.
Hello and welcome to Sportsday. I'm Tanya Arnold. Here are your headlines this lunchtime. Never write us off, say England, as they win the most dramatic of penalty shootouts to beat Sweden and make it through to the semi-finals of the
anti-migrant
Euros.
protest in Essex last night.
We'll have the latest
Police
from day
say
2
people
of the
in the
Open at
town
Royal
will see
Portrush.
extra
Home favourite
patrols
Rory
in the
McIlroy
coming
is among
days
those
after
out
disorder
on the
broke out
course.
following a largely
And
peaceful
we're less than
demonstration
24 hours
outside
away
a
from the
hotel
opening
housing
Lions test
asylum
against
seekers.
Australia will
The
be in
force
Brisbane
says some
to
of
look
its
ahead.
officers were assaulted and vehicles damaged during the incident at the Bell Hotel. From Epping, Simon Dedman reports.
Well, last night in Epping, there were hundreds of protesters taking part over the use of this hotel
And we start with
being used
the
to
England
house
women's team, who will
asylum
face
seekers. There are
Italy in the
essentially
semi-finals
two
of the
groups.
Euros
There are around
after coming
40
through what Lucy Bronze
anti-racist
described as the most
protesters who were
overwhelming
trying
and
to march from the
underwhelming
underground
of penalty
station.
shootouts. The performance
And
after
that's
going
it
down
from the team here
29-14
in London.
to
There's
Fiji
more, of
last
course,
week.
on
7
BBC
Scotland
Radio
players
London,
went
where there
over
will be
to finish the
regular
season
news
on a
bulletins
high
across the
row with the pick
afternoon.
of the
And of
tries
course, as
in
always,
the
on the BBC
second
News
half.
app, including
And
how
with their rematch
Idris
just a day
Elba
away,
plans
Alexander
to get
Usyk and
involved
Daniel
in
Dubois
this
have
year's
their
Notting
weigh-in
Hill
this
Carnival.
afternoon. The
Assad
heavyweight
will be in
world
the hot seat
champions
tonight
will
from
each put in
6:30.
their
But for now,
respective
let's go back
crowns
to
on the
Lewis
line.
for
And
the
you
rest
can
of the
follow
BBC News at
all
1.
of
Bye-bye.
the action at Royal Port Rush on the BBC Sport website and app.
Next, the Ukrainian boxer Alexander Usyk is 11 years older than British fighter Daniel Dubois, but insists age won't be a factor in their rematch at Wembley tomorrow. The winner will become the undisputed heavyweight champion. Usyk has been speaking to our reporter John Maguire. A sample of the world's oldest ice has arrived in the UK after a team of scientists worked in temperatures of minus 35 degrees to extract it. The ice is from East Antarctica and could be at least 1.5 million years old. It's hoped that studying it will reveal more about the Earth's environmental history, as our science editor Rebecca Morrell explains. People across the UK are being encouraged to count the number of butterflies they see over the next 3 weeks. Last year's big butterfly count recorded the lowest numbers in its 14-year history. The data should help scientists identify where loss of habitat means butterflies are struggling, as well as areas where they're thriving. Matt Taylor has more. Thanks to Matt for that. We have 2 weather presenters for the price of 1 today. What's happening out there? Hi, Ben.
Never too many, Lewis. Never too many. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Now, we've been talking a lot on the programme recently about how much some of us could really do with some rain. There is some rain coming, some heavy rain on the way. Lewis.
OK, thanks, Ben. That's all from today's BBC News at 1. You can keep right up to date with all of the stories on the BBC News website and on the BBC News app, of course. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
The picturesque country of Switzerland will host the Women's Euros this summer.